The video I posted yesterday featured a man giving dating advice, and it was clear that he wasn't in a position to do so. The vibe I got from him was that he's probably a basement-dwelling weirdo who goes out of an evening to steal women's underwear off washing lines. But it struck me that come September, Mrs. Disgruntled and I will have been married for 10 years. We've been living together for 14, so I have no idea what it's like to be dating in 2024, and I expect many of you watching are in the same situation. So today, we'll meet a few people who will explain it for us, beginning with a woman delving into the almost taboo topic of how many people have you slept with.
So my body count is 500, and it got me thinking, what is the average person's? Like 20? I feel like 20, surely. I know mine is a little bit high compared to most people's, so don't get me wrong, I'm not out here thinking that's normal. I like to have fun, what can I say? But I feel like 20 is like a good round whole number, right? What's yours? So
I'll try not to be judgmental because it's her body and she can do what she wants with it. But when she says her number is a little high, yeah, I think you're slightly downplaying that, love. Because I googled the average amount of sexual partners which someone has throughout their lifetime here in the UK. In 2017, the average was 8. Last year, in 2023, it's dropped down to between 4 and 5. Now, we shouldn't be surprised by that because young people aren't having sex anymore. They're far too busy being depressed on TikTok and stressing about their pronouns. But it transpires that I'm a bit of a slag. My numbers aren't anywhere near those of our blonde friend because what she's done is the equivalent of having sex with 45 and a bit football teams. By football teams, I mean just the starting 11, I'm not counting subs. So, I'm assuming that young lady is straight. I'm also assuming, rather unkindly, that where she lives, she'll have a reputation for basically being a prostitute who doesn't charge. And it's great she's having fun right now, but my concern is, if in the future she wants to settle down, that could be problematic. In the same way that many OnlyFans models can't form long-term relationships, because although many straight men want a really hot girlfriend or wife, they don't want a hot girlfriend or wife knowing that anywhere around the world, anyone is 2 mouse clicks away from having a look at her gash. Or having a look at her gash with another bloke's cock in it. So, Miss 500, as I'll call her, if in the future she wants to get married and have children, she'll struggle to find a husband. A man who knows that every time they go out for dinner in their local town, the second they walk through the door of the restaurant, she's probably fucked 3 of the men in there. So if she's had 500 dicks up her, what state is her undercarriage in? It must be like trying to fuck a 2-man tent. Now, of course, dating will be easy for her because she's very pretty. Or maybe she's not as pretty as she thinks she is.
I think this is going to ruffle some feathers, but I'm in the mood for ruffling feathers. I think some white girls cannot fathom that a girl who's not white can be considered prettier than them.
The casual anti-white racism never ceases to amaze me, because if a woman the same colour as me had said the same thing about any other race, there would be hell to pay. And as a straight man, women of all races can be attractive or unattractive. Some are very pretty and some aren't. Except for one very strange anomaly, and that's Indian women. There are no okay Indian women, no average-looking Indian women. They are either stunning, properly bite the back of your hand beautiful, or the power of Christ compels you. And if I'm being picky about a woman talking about other women being attractive, does she not possess a mirror? Because it can't just be me that noticed that her hairline starts at the top of her skull. My hairline's lower than that, and I'm fucking bald. Anyway, let's move on to another woman who's been on a date and she's very disappointed.
Okay, I am the problem. I went on a date with this guy and he was like, it's getting late. Do you want to come back to my place? And I was like, sure, but I'm not going to sleep with you. Like, that's not happening. And he was like, that's totally fine. Just come over. And I was like, cool. So I go to his place. He respects my wishes. He's so nice. He cuddles me all night. And I'm like, are you gay? Like, what? And like, I just wanted him to like try, and then for me to be like, no, you know what I mean? I wasn't gonna sleep with him, but I just, now I feel ugly. This is what.
Yeah, I went on like a date, and it was like, it was okay. Like, fuck me, love, you're irritating. So let's have a brief summary of what went on. She went on a date. She went back to the guy's place, said she wasn't going to sleep with him, and because he then didn't try and give her a good ploughing, now she's pissed. Where has she been for the last few years? Because now, us men know, if we so much as look at a woman wrong, we can end up in court, our name dragged through the mud, being labelled as some type of monster. She said she wasn't going to sleep with him, and he respected her wishes. If he'd kept trying to have sex with her, that guy would then be a problem. That is a sexual predator. And us men, we are very simple creatures. If you tell us something, we will tend to understand it. That guy wasn't to know the subtlety and nuance that he was meant to try again to try and seduce her so she could playfully push him back. Because if I put myself in that situation, what are the options? In the morning, she could say she was pressured into it and off to court for me. She may have panicked and pepper sprayed me and off to court for me. The best case scenario is spending the entire night with a raging hard-on, not being able to do anything about it. And now she feels ugly. Well, I'm sorry, love, but, that's your fault. I better know where her date has gone now. He's gone round to see Blondie from the start of the video. She'll give him a shag if he doesn't mind queuing. Anyway, I realise I'm being very misogynistic and outdated, because thus far we've only seen traditional women. You know, the women with small feet and ovaries, but it's 2024. Let's take a look at Woman 2.0.
Two requests. One, to show my makeup up close, so there we go. Really nice, right? The other request is to show you what the belt's made of, right, guys? So you want to see what the belt's made of, right? I'll show you guys, alright? Okay. This is what the belt's made of, darling. Isn't this cute? Look at this. Some really nice, sweet girl gave this to me, and I'm very happy. She was so nice. She gave that to me for free, darling. No. Isn't that a cute belt, darling? I just improvised, darling. No.
So, that chap isn't hurting anyone. What he does in his own home is his own business, although then he put it on the internet, so it became my business. What terrifies me, though, is that in 2024, everyone is a photographer. And I'm sure with enough time and effort and filters and editing, he could take some selfies and then make himself convincingly look like a woman. And then put those pictures on a dating site. We all know that people on Instagram bear very little resemblance to how they look in real life. And I say that with posts I've seen of friends, where I look at it and think, they don't fucking look like that. So, if I was single in 2024 with all the software available, maybe I could match up with someone without having spoken to them on the phone or FaceTime them or whatever, just based on a photograph, and I think I was going to meet an attractive woman. So I go to the restaurant and that thing walks in, the man in the dress. Now what am I meant to do in that scenario? If I get up and leave, the best possible outcome for me is I'll get labelled as a transphobe, all the ists and isms will come out and the mob will burn my house down. Alternatively, I could leave, the woman then gets depressed, goes home and dangles from the light fitting, then the mob come to my house, burn it down whilst calling me a murderer, or I'd have to sit there and try and go through with the date. And I can't keep a straight face for that long. So I'm glad I'm not dating in 2024. And if we think again of Miss 500, body count used to be known as notches on the bedpost. If she put all those notches on her bedpost, the fucking bed would collapse. That's the end of this video. If you've enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe. And as ever, thanks for watching. Featuring dating advice from a man who isn't in a position... fucking bollocks it up already. A man who isn't in a position to give it. A bloke who I imagine does so much wanking that when he finally gets a girlfriend, the share price of Vaseline will drop. Try not to be judgmental. It's her body. She can do... Teams, I mean the starting 11. I'm not counting substitutes. The way I fucked that up. I don't know if starting 11's a term. I know sod all about football. Been the last few years. As a man, I now know that I can just be stood there, staring into space on standby. And if a woman walks through my field of vision, I'll end up in court for it. And now she feels ugly. Well, like, you're not ugly. It's just that your personality doesn't compensate. I'd have fucked that up. Just finished recording, and the sun's come out.